Ours kind of exaggerates, as it's obvious. You know, I was going to do a little exercise that I did in DC at the Open conference in DC, and what I did there is I talked about Naeem Zamindar, who's my first cousin, and Naeem Zamindar had called me in early 2000, and he was the Intel merger acquisition head at that time. Now, if you're in the Valley, in Silicon Valley, and if you're the Intel head of merger acquisition, everyone's sucking up on you. Everyone, tell you, everybody in the 2000s, right? There weren't the Googles around. There wasn't a lot of money in the Valley, and these big corporations, IBM, Intel, HP, were the players. And he calls me up and he says, "Zain, how are you?" I said, "Fine." He said, "Main Pakistan ja raha hu." And for those who don't understand Hindi, that means I'm going to Pakistan. So I said, wait, where are you going to Pakistan? What's up? So he said, you know, I've just decided to slow down and do some things, and I'm going to Pakistan. So I said, what are you going to Pakistan for? You know, those 2 buildings have fallen down, and we're responsible, and you know, it's not a good place to go. And he says, well, you know, have you heard of Sri Ravi Shankar? I said, who the hell is Sri Ravi Shankar? He says, well, the art of living. And you know, he's, for those of you who know art of living, of course, amazing, right? And so I didn't know about anything about art of living. And then I said, listen, art of living in Pakistan? Taliban, you got it. And he did that. He did that. He went and he did that. And he was in DC, and he's a yoga guy, art of living. He went into Mobilink. He's one of the founders of Mobilink, of course. And then Bateen, he just takes it with Bateen in Pakistan. So you can be an entrepreneur anywhere in the world. So, you know, besides the fantastic pocket square, I think you've done a better thing of going to Pakistan. Now, you know, when Delaware, who's a very close friend, my first meeting with Delaware was, he had called me up, he said, "Man, open guy." I've known him, but the first time he called me up in the Valley, he said, "Zain, I want to talk to you about something." He called me up and he said, "You forced me to become Open's president for Silicon Valley, and these guys don't do anything." And I'll tell you what, I'm a Gujarati from a Bhora community, which is a confused cult. It's like the Akhani cult, but it's only more control. So, and by the way, I can say that because I was born in Kenya. And so this is our philosophy. And I'll say it in Gujarati, then I'll come back and translate it for you. All right? Potana jema se paisa nikalo. Alright, for those who don't understand that, it means take money out of your pocket and put it in your pocket. Last night I had dinner. Last night I had dinner with Etsy. Etsy is a Jewish lady from Israel. Nextech is a company. They're one of the partners that every time Nextech is an incubator, they do companies in Israel, and then they open up companies in Boston, and New York, and Silicon Valley, and all over. And you know what? I was having dinner with her last night, and that's why I couldn't take the 3 o'clock flight, and I had some other issues also, and she had flown in from Israel to meet with us. And they're a partner, and they start all their companies. And you know, that was the first time she heard that I was a Muslim. And we've been dealing with them for over now 2.5 years. All the startups that they open in Boston, in New York, and in Silicon Valley, guess what? We're also, I have one of my companies which does payroll, accounting, like Zenefits, everything together. And all the contracts, we are the official contract provider to the almost 47 companies that they've got so far. And some of them are large. Zillow is one of their companies and stuff like that. So we are the back-end insurance provider for them, right? Now, I'm sitting there and she says, she starts talking about, so when I first came to the US, people would ask me, where are you from? And I'd say, Kenya. And if it's an Indian customer, meaning for somebody from India, would ask me, where are you from? I said, Kenya. And so, but where? Where are you from? And I can't tell them I'm from Karachi, I'm a Pakistani. And, you know, if you cut any wings, it's all Pakistani, even though I was born in Kenya. So they pondered me and said, "Kahan se ho?" You know, and Silicon Valley, by the way, my entire career, from the age of 16 when I started my first company, is pure luck. Pure luck. But the tragedy is that all of you have that luck. You're all lucky. Can you imagine the people in the room that you're sitting with, that you can do business with, that need your help? But you won't take that effort of doing that. You won't make the effort of doing it. When I was 16 years old, I just returned from Cambridge, and Pakistan had, there was this East Pakistan thing. By the way, I'm from grammar school, Karachi, from the batch of Zardari and Murtaza Bhutto. Two conflicts, right? Pinky was a good friend, and I'll tell you what, when 71 happened, we had industries in East Pakistan, we lost all our money, and we were pretty tight, and shipping was nationalized, we lost shipping. I'm from the Jeewanjee family, and we lost a lot of money, and we were really, really struggling. I'd got a Levi's jacket with me that I'd come from England, that I brought with me. This is a true story. And one of my friends, Murtaza Hassan, lives all over the world. His wife does all the work. He does nothing at all. Wastes his time. A good friend of mine, Moti said, "Mujhe ye jacket chahiye, yaar." He brought us a jacket. So I said, "Okay, we're pretty tight for money." So I said, "I'll sell it to him and I'll go and make a copy." So I went to my tailor and I said, "I want to make a copy of this. Can you make a copy of this?" They kapda kya hai? Denim. Denim was unknown in Pakistan. Nobody knew what denim was. 1971, by the way, I'm pretty old. So I looked at the denim and he says, "Pata hi nahi kya hai? What the hell is this fabric?" So I went to Asian Nizamuddin's son, whose son studied in school with me in grammar school. I went to him and said, "Ye tent mein se canvas thoda do, main isko dye karunga in Parker blue ink," which I did. It faded up a little bit and I made a copy. Long story short, besides Asif Zardari trying to undress the models in the back in the fashion show that we held in Karachi in 1971, the first catwalk show in Pakistan was done by me. First ever. Let it be known that TJ's, Tanveer Jamshed, who was also Gramanian, started boutique 6 months after we did. We introduced ready-made clothing in Pakistan. So the concept that you go around, you see hash garments and all these garments, Wranglers we brought into our backyard in our factory in Mayunit. We did a lot of stuff. 1983, so there was luck, pure luck. I needed a jacket, I loved it, wanted to sell it to somebody, went to made a copy, luck, pure luck, timing. 1981, I lost my first child of a recessive gene, died because the cells deteriorate after birth. My second daughter, Zain, who just gave me a grandson, lives in Silicon Valley. And then my third child, again, was diagnosed with the same problem. So we brought him, we had all the resources in the world. We were rich enough, so we brought him to the best place in the world, which is San Francisco, UC, Berkeley, and he died there. And he was buried in Los Angeles 6 months later. Again, luck. I lost my mother, my father, my son, and my daughter from 1981 to 83. And that's pretty tragic, and I'm only 26 years old. Right, so that's pretty heavy. I moved to Silicon Valley, 1983. Nobody knew or heard of Silicon Valley in that context as you know today. Again, luck. I ended up in a place, and so I was there with about $120,000 in medical bills. And so what do? Gujarati guy, confused like hell. I figured out, how do I pay these bills? And I figured out that nowhere in the country is there a company that insures foreign nationals. So in Washington, D.C., and in Chicago, there was a guy called Ramesh Patel. He still exists, visitors coverage. Everybody know Ramesh Patel? I see him every time I come in here. I'm the only guy he meets with in the insurance industry, by the way. And I talked to him, and I said, and we created the first company to insure foreign nationals coming in the U.S. Then what was about to happen is, and CNN writes an article on this on me, and they absolute fabricated lie that I thought of this, and when I set up plan and I had a 5-year plan like some of these speakers do have. I had no plan at all. I just made a product. I made a product because I needed it. And I went door to door and said, "Can you please buy some visitors insurance?" I had nobody coming in. He goes, "Can you buy some visitors insurance?" Nobody wanted to buy. Well, what was going to happen is cheap Indian companies were going to open in Silicon Valley that hire H-1 workers, which is a visa of 3 years permit, and they would not insure the spouses. The poor spouse would not have a social security number. Well, guess what? Somebody in a block, in a 10 by 10 office had created a product 4 years before that fit them all. So we just became a household name. Then how do you break into big accounts? So I'm a 70s guy, I love concerts, so I go to New York all the time to watch concerts. Air Supply and all these guys that have already, you wouldn't even know, your generation doesn't even know. So there's a company in New York, a small little company, startup called MetLife, I'm sure you've heard of them, right? So my CEO at that time, Zoe Brangwala, and we were going to go to, I told him, yeah, MetLife should sell this product of ours. He said, listen, our total revenue is $60,000 a year. They're a $120 billion company. You're going to go to them as an insurance broker and tell them, you sell my product? He said, nahi chalega. I said, yeah, I'm constant per ja raha hu, I can do a tax write-off. So anyway, I took that. So I flew into New York. I go to New York, and luck, pure luck. I'm in the elevator, and guess what? The CEO of MetLife is in the elevator going up. I'm going to go and talk to them. No appointment, no schedule, anything. I'm in the elevator. And this happens to me every time, at least twice a week it happens, where somebody that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because I'm a strong believer that God, whether you believe in to be Jesus, Moses, Buddha, whatever, there's somebody up there organizing stuff better than the IRS or Donald Trump. and it happens for a reason. Donald Trump is running this election for a reason. If he wins, there's a reason behind it. I don't know what the reason is. God, but anyway, and please tell me to shut up because I talk too much and the time will be over. All right, so I'll be done in 5 minutes. Anyway, so just told me you're already over. Anyway, the bottom line is, all my companies, Jeewanjee, we did, which was a travel insurance company. After that, we created the first company to do one-day event insurance. I was looking for wedding insurance for my daughter, and we opened up a company that today. Then I got a call from Warren Buffett saying, I want to have dinner with you, and I didn't know it was Warren Buffett, and I almost threw out the dinner. It's amazing. It's all luck, pure luck. My latest company, which does forms automation, is with a partner, Google guy, Zain. I'm sure you all have heard of Zain. Another fantasy story. So one of the things I would suggest you all do, as Pakistanis, we don't do it as well as Indians do. I've got in India, like Bilal was talking, I've got about 230 employees in India. And I tell you, I have only 4 in Pakistan. And मेरे दिल से उम्मीद होती कि मेरे 230 in Pakistan में हो, India में ना हो. And the way it will change if we are transparently honest to ourselves and everything I do. Which means when your son picks up the phone, he doesn't do this. Appu, Javed sahab ka phone hai, aap ghar par hai? What is this? Why are we this way? You go to, you know what makes Chicago different from Silicon Valley? If I'm chatting with Horace here and we're in Starbucks, a guy walks up to me and says, hey, my name is, can I join your conversation? I overheard something. And the guy would say, yeah, sure. My name is Mark Zuckerberg. Because they're honest, they're open. They don't give a damn shit about how much money you make, who you are, what you do, what color of skin you are. They'll work with anybody that's smart and good. And they're open. Pakistanis don't have that. And I mean,